Hey everyone, welcome back to RJK Golf. I'm your host Riley Kegel. Thank you for tuning back in. As many of you know, I was out of the country for a little over 2 weeks. I took my first international trip to the Philippines. Not only was it my first time really getting out of the country, using my passport, all that kind of stuff, but it was also my first time playing professional golf in a different country, on a different continent. And what an experience it was. First of all, thank you to everyone that's been following along and supporting both this channel and my professional golf career to this point. I'm going to be doing 2 different videos recapping my trip to the Philippines. I wanted to do this first video that is just going to be exclusively kind of about the golf and how the tournament went. It's going to be a pretty brief video. I have a little bit of content that I was able to make while I was over there. I'm going to show throughout this video, and then I'm going to make a second video that's going to be more about the travel to the Philippines, because I think some people might be interested in that. I know that there are a lot of Americans that travel to the Philippines every year for vacation, just to see a different part of the world. I know it's one of the most beautiful countries in the world, so I'm going to make a video a little bit about the travel as well. But like I said, this is a golf channel first, so I just kind of wanted to fill everyone in on how it went. Alright guys, so before we get into how the actual event went and talk about the course in Tagaytay, where the Philippine Golf Tour Q School was, I did manage to play a round of golf in Manila before I headed south for Tagaytay. I played at a golf course called Villamar Golf Club. It's on the south side, pretty near the airport actually. It's like right next to it. That was quite an interesting experience, and I think it's important to talk about the course a little bit, just because of not even necessarily the golf course. It was a pretty standard par 72 golf course. I mean, there were some good holes on it for sure, but the surroundings of the golf course, one of the best things about golf is what you see outside of your play, including the surroundings outside of the golf course. You know, you're never, on most golf courses, you're right next to, you know, it could be anything, it could be mountains, rivers, lakes, cities, all that kind of stuff. And Villamar, it definitely put things into perspective a little bit on how, what it's like to live or travel to a developing country and what that might mean for golfers. So I'll give you a little bit of an example. I think it was the first hole you start out, just a short par 4. There's nothing really to talk much about that. But then you get to like 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5, and you're going down the right side of the boundary of the course, and you are literally 25, 30 yards away from slums. I mean, just absolute slums. I mean, it's kind of shocking when you're walking down the fairway and you look up in these buildings that there are people living in them. There's people walking around. There's walls of the building missing. The roofs are gone, and people are, you know, just existing within the boundaries of, you know, what is left of their home. And that's just their day-to-day life, is living in these slums. And then you go around back towards the clubhouse, and then you go up the left side of the golf course, and you're closer to the air base, and you have luxury hotels, luxury condos, all those sorts of things. You have people at work, you have really nice, you know, cars in the parking lot and everything like that. And it's just, that alone might have been worth the entire trip, because it puts you in an entirely different world. The second part of this video is actually going to be, I made it to Tagaytay, check into the hotel, and, you know, I played in the Philippine Tour Q School. I played at a golf course called Splendido Taal Golf Club, which was visually stunning. Tagaytay is on a ridge overlooking a lake. Splendido Taal is on a ridge underneath the top ridge. So when you're walking on some of the holes, they flip the 9s, but the third hole for what we were playing, normally the 12th hole, you're literally walking on the edge of a ridge, and you're looking up at what is basically a mountain, which is where the ridge for the city of Tagaytay is. But then you're also looking down hundreds of feet into forests and lakes, and it is just one of the most visually stunning and awe-inspiring places that I have ever played golf, certainly. And not that Tagaytay is a very populated country or a very well-traveled country, but if anyone goes to the Philippines to play golf, I highly recommend going to Tagaytay to play Splendido Taal if you can. We did have to pay for our first practice round if you get there early, which I did. They did not have a driving range, which I'll get into in a minute. So all you could do was just tee it up and play. I think the cost with a caddy, which you have to take, you had to take a golf cart, you had to take a caddy, and obviously with 18 holes, no range balls, I think it cost $99 American, which is a little steep, but I think it's like 4,900 pesos. It was worth it just to get another look at the golf course. The golf course itself was quirky and firm and fast. It was actually in really good shape. It was just it's their dry season. I think the average rainfall during January, February, and March is less than a day per month of how, when they get rain. So very firm and fast, very dry, which is, a stark contrast to what it's been here in Alabama with tornadoes and thunderstorms. So that was definitely difficult to adjust to, but I ended up meeting a guy named Nathan from Australia. We ended up playing a round and a half together of practice. It was an awesome experience to play with him, get an insight to what life is like in Australia playing professional golf. And he's a great guy and someone that I hope to keep in contact with. After the first practice round, then the next day we got a free practice round with the tournament. Nathan and I played together again. I had an awesome local caddy named Tina, and she did a fantastic job. If you go to the Philippines to play golf, you have to get the caddies. Not just because you literally have to, but because the experience of talking to someone that lives in these communities and knows these golf courses like the back of their hand. Tina was saying that she caddies 6 days a week, every single week, and a lot of times she'll caddy twice in a day. So she's been doing it for 9 years now, I think. So, that kind of experience you have to have on the bag, especially for a tournament. The tournament rounds itself, as I had said before, there was no range. So I had 27 holes in Tagaytay and 18 holes in Manila. That was it. No range balls or anything for like a week and a half before the tournament round. So I was kind of nervous to see how it would go, especially because I've been working on some new things in my swing. The tournament rounds, I played really well. I putted better than I've ever done before, which is saying something because putting is usually the best part of my game. I was making putts from everywhere, but with the combination of not really having much practice time since arriving in the Philippines, and on top of that, just not really being used to the firm and fast conditions, I finished middle of the pack, just below middle of the pack. Only the top third made the cut, and I had a chance, especially halfway through my second round. I was playing good golf. I mean, the first hole of the second round, piped a drive down the middle, put it in an iron to about 3 feet and tapped in for birdie. And it was just one of those things where I would get on quirky holes and I just either wouldn't trust my swing or I just didn't know how to play the hole correctly. And it's my fault for not, playing the hole like it needed to be played, but there were a couple big numbers that ultimately led to me missing the cut, which means that I probably will not be returning for any events. They will contact us if some spots open up. It's unlikely that I would fly over there just for one event, but I guess you never know. If I get a sponsor or just save up enough money where I could afford another trip, I would go back in a heartbeat. So ultimately, yes, I did miss the cut. It was disappointing. The few hours after the second round, as you can imagine, having spent quite a bit of time and money to get over there, it was very disappointing to miss the cut. But honestly, the experience of playing in a tournament like that and just kind of manning up and going to a different continent to play a professional golf tournament, I was really proud of myself and just thinking about where I've come from, and it was a great experience. the Philippine Golf Tour I would absolutely recommend to any professional golfer if they're looking for a place to try and go play in Q School. There is a second tour that's even bigger than the normal Philippine tour called Philippine Golf Tour Asia, which has their Q School in about a month or so, which I might go play if I can get the funds, but it'll be pretty difficult to raise enough money unless someone wants to sponsor me. We have another video for that if you're interested. Man, what an experience though, and thank you to the Philippine Golf Tour for putting on a fantastic tournament. The host hotel was awesome. There was a little bit of a dilemma with the shuttles, but the tour took care of everything and really made us feel like world-class athletes, even though we were playing a developmental tour. Really, hats off to everyone that runs the Philippine Golf Tour and everyone involved. So going forward, what does this mean for my career? Well, obviously I'm not going to be in the Philippines as much this year as I'd hoped, but we have a ton of stuff on the horizon. We have just announced a web.com tour event coming to my home site on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. So I'll be playing the Monday qualifier for that in about a month. We have US Open qualifying right after that. Haven't picked my site yet. I'm thinking about going back to the Midwest so I can maybe take a trip home. And then after that, we got Monday qualifiers for PGA Tour, web.com tour events, and probably some mini tour events. And now that it's getting warmer outside and it's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing on the golf courses, the camera's going to be out more. I got some cool drone shots in the Philippines. That's going to be out more now. So guys, the best is yet to come. Once again, thank you so much for supporting my professional golf career and this channel. If you want more of the best content, I would obviously encourage you to follow this YouTube channel where most of the content is going to be, as well as Instagram, which has just the best pictures that I take. RJK Golf, you can find it anywhere on social media. So once again, thank you guys so much. I'll be posting the travel side of my journey probably within the next week, as well as I'm going to do a preview of the Players Championship and kind of give my predictions and what I think is going to happen, because I'm going to be down there watching. So be sure to look out for all of those videos. And once again, thanks for following the channel.